Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're picking up from Canto 1, Chapter 16, and we're covering verses 17 and 18. So I will open these verses. 17 doesn't have any commentary, but I'll still read the Sanskrit and the word for word in the translation. Tasya evam vartamanasya purvesham vritim anvaham nati dure kilascharyam yad asit tannibodame. Word for word. Tasya of Maharaj Parikshit, evam thus, vartamanasya remaining absorbed in such thought, purvesham of his forefathers, vritim good engagement, anvaham day after day, na not, ati dure far off, kila verily, ashcharyam astonishing, yet that, asit was, tat which, niboda know it, me from me. Translation. Now you may hear from me of what happened while Maharaj Parikshit was passing his days hearing of the good occupations of his forefathers and being absorbed in thought of them. So no commentary, so we'll go to the next verse. Dharma padaikena charan vichayam upalabhyagam prichati smasru vadanam vivatsam iva mataram. Synonyms. Dharma, the personality of religious principles. Pada, leg. Ekena, on one only. Charan, wandering. Vichayam, overtaken by the shadow of grief. Upalabhya, having met. Gam, the cow. Prichati sma, asked. Ashru vadanam, with tears on the face. Vivatsam, one who has lost her offspring. Iva, like, mataram, the mother. Translation. The personality of religious principles, Dharma, was wandering about in the form of a bull, and he met the personality of earth in the form of a cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus, Dharma questioned the earth as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The bull is the emblem of the moral principle, and the cow is the representative of the earth. When the bull and the cow are in a joyful mood, it is to be understood that the people of the world are also in a joyful mood. The reason is that the bull helps production of grains in the agricultural field, and the cow delivers milk, the miracle of aggregate food values. The human society, therefore, maintains these two important animals very carefully, so that they can wander everywhere in cheerfulness. But at the present moment in this age of Kali, both the bull and the cow are now being slaughtered and eaten up as foodstuff by a class of men who do not know the Brahminical culture. The bull and the cow can be protected for the good of all human society simply by the spreading of Brahminical culture as the topmost perfection of all cultural affairs. By advancement of such culture, the morale of society is properly maintained. And so peace and prosperity are also attained without extraneous effort. When Brahminical culture deteriorates, the cow and bull are mistreated, and the resultant actions are prominent by the following symptoms. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So these couple of verses, Sutta Goswami is now beginning a new story, speaking about Dharma the bull and Boomi the cow, and how Maharaj Parikshit Actually, earlier on in this chapter, it began, like mentioning how Maharaj Parikshit stumbled upon both of them and seeing how Dharma had been beaten. And so we're kind of gonna get the backstory as to what was happening prior to him stumbling upon Dharma and Bhumi. So in the previous verse, we had heard how Maharaj Parikshit had been traveling the world, and he was completely captured hearing about how Krishna took up so many menial positions for his devotees, the Pandavas, and how this greatly increased his love for, how this greatly increased Maharaj Parikshit's love for Krishna. So yeah, now here we're going to hear about Parikshit stumbling upon Dharma and Bhumi. But before he gets to them, there's a conversation that happens between Dharma and Bhumi that we will be hearing in the coming verses. So in verse 17, there was no commentary. It was just mentioning how it was just Sutta Goswami introducing this new story. And in verse 18, Prabhupada gives a practical reason as to why one should worship the cow and the bull. And, he takes this opportunity hearing about Dharma and Bhumi to mention the culture of protecting the cow and the bull. And he says, in the purport, he says, when the bull and the cow are in a joyful mood, it is to be understood that the people of the world are also full of aggregate food values. So this is, one thing that's interesting about this is that sometimes this question comes up in general, why do Hindus worship the cow? And I guess you could say that a few answers can be given to that question. Of course, we do consider the cow to be holy. All of the cow's byproducts are able to be used in service of Krishna, which is very auspicious. And also, kind of on like a practical level, I guess you could say, the cows and the bulls, their very activities are beneficial to society. Prabhupada says that the cow delivers milk, the bull helps produce the grains in the agricultural field, and the cow delivers milk, which is a supplement to all living life forms. So in that way, the bull and the cow are very auspicious and also indicative of a successful society. And Prabhupada also kind of implies how there's a sort of chain reaction effect that comes from either protecting or neglecting the cow and the bull accordingly. And he says that when Brahminical culture deteriorates, the cow and bull are mistreated and the resultant actions are prominent by the following symptoms. So the following symptoms are what will be expanded upon in the coming verses. Dharma starts to speak about all of these different kind of symptoms of the age of Kali that are becoming present. And Prabhupada is explaining how that these symptoms of Kali essentially are becoming present because of the deterioration of Brahminical culture. And so you can kind of think of it, in the Bhagavad Gita, we hear about this, that concept of Varna Shankara, and how Arjuna was despondent, he was hesitant to fight. And one of his arguments was that if we kill all of these men and these kings, then the women will have no protection, and then that will lead to unwanted progeny, Varna Shankara, and it kind of leads to a degradation of society. And in a similar vein, we're also seeing that if Brahminical culture is not upheld, then that leads to mistreatment of the cows and the bulls in this context. And then mistreatment of the cows and the bulls indicates an unsuccessful society and improper agricultural care and improper humanity in general, and just an overall degradation of human society. So, really, this whole purport is speaking about the value of the protection of the cows and the bulls, and how their mistreatment can lead to a degradation of society. So those are the only 2 points that I wanted to highlight in the context of this verse. I don't know if anyone has any other comments or questions that they would like to add. I know it's a very short discussion, but just, very straightforward what Prabhupada is bringing forth in this purport. So if anyone would like any comments or questions, otherwise, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, no hidden message here. So I think that's all I have to present today. Thank you all.
And if anybody has any comments.
Or if anyone has any other understanding of the necessity for the protection of the cows and the bulls, that would be nice to hear.
Prabhu, Devimurti Mataji sent a message.
Yeah.
Is becoming vegan a right way to protect cows?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've also thought about that a lot. I think that becoming vegan does, in a practical way, veganism does protect cows, because any other, even you could say, like on a material level, like even the consumption of cow products like milk or cheese or yogurt means that somewhere the cows are being kept and most likely being mistreated just for the sake of their byproducts, getting their byproducts. But that being said, I've heard some good arguments from devotees also against veganism. Obviously, one of the arguments is that Krishna appreciates the cow byproducts. We know for a fact that Krishna likes yogurt, he likes milk. These are nice things to offer to him. And so I think basically veganism is okay, but one step above veganism is having protected cows byproducts. So for example, we have devotee farm communities like Gitanagari or New Vrindavan or New Talavan, Alachua, all these different places, they have their own cows and they produce their own milk and cheese and yogurt, and they use that, and we know for a fact that those cows are protected and that everything that comes from them is coming from cows who have been properly cared for. So basically veganism is okay, but that's not the best way to protect cows. I hope that helps, but it's difficult. I don't really know. I don't know. It's a challenge, especially for us living in the cities. I know that for devotees that live nearby, like Gitanagari community, sometimes they set up these kind of delivery systems where they can have the ahimsa products delivered to their congregation. But it can be difficult to do that. So yeah. Good question though. Thank you. I don't know if anyone has any other thoughts on that.
I just wanted to make a comment on that, Mukunda, also. Like,
Yes.
I've not done much research or anything, but just for the fact that our Shastras, where we are learning from, and again, in this purport, Prabhupada is also reinforcing how, the cow and the bull are to be cared and protected, because cow is our mother, right? Like,
Yeah.
we treat them as our mother, like it's a motherly affection with them. And then, we all through the shastras, we have learned that we should be consuming those products, like, milk and ghee is milk and ghee. I have read all over in our scriptures.
Yeah.
And I don't think going vegan is a way to protect cows. I agree with you that the source, how they are treated and how they're how the products are, consumed, like in what way they are produced is important, and these they need to be treated well.
Yeah.
Being vegan is not the solution to this problem, in my view.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I wish I could remember it right now, but I read some, because there was some argument somewhere on social media amongst devotees about, the effectiveness of veganism, and somebody made a really nice argument. If I find it, I'll send it to our group chat later, but somebody mentioned how what the effect would be even if the world became fully vegan. What would the effect be on the cows? And there was some other type of unwanted side effect that would come from that. So yeah, like Kiran Mataji is saying, the highest ideal is to have protected cows. And so really it's almost like the responsibility is just being thrown back on us. So
Hare Krishna Mukunda Prabhu. Please
yes,
accept my
Prabhu.
humble differences, always to Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, what comes to my mind when we are talking about veganism, cows, and these things is Yukta Vairagya. There are two principles that our acharyas bring up again and again in their purports, particularly Srila Prabhupada. Number one is negation is not the best way to solve anything in this material world. So Neti, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So disassociating from cows is not a solution. That is number one. Yes, the world is not fair, and there are ways we can bring up the fairness, or awareness, all of that. The second part is, like Yukta Vairagya, you should use everything in the service of Krishna. And, you should not deny service to Krishna by anyone. That includes the cows, whether they are in this form or in the other form, So,
Yeah.
Veganism looks like high ideal, but it isn't. It is not true, because if you follow veganism, what are you going to offer to Krishna? He loves the butter the most. He loves the kheer that you make, and so many other things that you make out of the cow's milk. And none of that can be given to him other than just patram and pushpam. So,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, please.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I'll also just add really quickly, I don't want to like make any vegans feel bad or anything like that, because a lot of people do become vegan for moral reasons, and that's definitely appreciable. And also people become vegan because of health reasons, and that's a whole nother story as to like what has led to it's not being able to eat dairy products. But anyway, I just want to add that why some people do become vegan, and I'm personally not against that, but I see the argument for why veganism is not the ultimate protection for cows. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
To the Baba. Yeah, hearing the arguments for not becoming vegan, I feel outside of the service for Krishna, and they sound quite like the same arguments I would hear from someone who argues for eating meat. And I don't know, because rather than, while negation isn't the best solution, or as Ravi, sorry, I forget your initiated name for a second.
Yeah, Radha Kunja Bihari Prabhu.
Radha Kunja Bihari Prabhu was saying, it's negation is still better than maltreatment. So if we don't personally engage in the protection of cows, then it's still better than supporting the maltreatment of the cows. Is it not? So each of us individually should at least go out of our way to get the ahimsa products, if that's what we want to support. Otherwise, we are supporting directly the maltreatment in a way.
Right. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I mean, like, for example, it's not like, other cow byproducts are being made too, such as leather, or, I mean, there are all these restaurants that are producing meat. And if we do not support those, that is a step in the right direction. And then another step in the right direction is to go out of our way to get the ahimsa products. Yeah.
Thank you, Achudabhav Prabhu. I think that's a very valid point, and that also brings a different perspective. If you look at there are different reasons why people go vegan. One is moral, the other one is somebody like me. Like I'm allergic to lactose. I'm intolerant to lactose, which I developed later in my life. So though I love the products, I really can't eat it. So I am technically vegan now. So, just letting you know, there may be, yes, other reasons why people go vegan.
Yeah.
Sorry, for me, it's similar. It's not necessarily by choice that I love the products, but for health reasons, I have to refrain from them.
Yeah, Prabhu, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's a good, that's the right way to think, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. On a side note, if anybody in our congregation ever comes across a way in which ahimsa products can be provided to our congregation, they should definitely let our leaders know, because that's like very valuable. That's like because otherwise we're kind of just, all we have access to is what is there in the store. So if anyone ever comes across, it doesn't even necessarily have to be from a devotee farm. I'm sure that there are other farms out there that also value protection, especially nowadays. This idea of protecting the cow and protecting, there's so many people that are becoming vegan just because they don't like the mistreatment of animals. And so I'm sure that other farms exist like that. And if anyone ever comes across anything like that, that could be like some good sukriti that this unassuming farm owner could accumulate just by providing their cow's milk to our temple. So anyway, just on a side note. Any other final comments or questions? Okay. I think we can end there. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for the discussion. It is a difficult topic, what is the best method of protection, but I think even if we're all trying in some little way wherever we can, that's appreciated and beneficial. So thank you all.